And so now at this point you're completely free. You didn't have any. You're still undetectable, so it's completely out of your system. The agent.
Now, yeah.
The virus.
Yeah. You mean now? Yeah. I'm completely undetectable. I don't take HIV meds, except that I am taking PrEP, which you can only take if you're negative, HIV negative, and because I am quite sexual active.
Okay.
So,
PrEP is. Could you explain what that is?
It's PrEP is it's Truvada. It's pre-exposure prophylaxis.
Okay, so it's a medication you take so that you cannot infect yourself again, basically.
Yeah, it's an HIV medication that they determined basically prevents infection.
Okay.
Not in my case reinfection, but it's actually it was approved by the CDC as being the American Center for Disease Control for being the only true safe sex.
Okay. So it's 100% basically safe if you take it if you take it according to the protocol.
Yeah, you have to take it every day for it to be safe.
Okay.
There are studies where people take it as needed, but I don't like having that basically.
You want to be ready at any time. Let's put it this way.
Exactly. Yeah.
Let's put it this way. Okay.
Yeah.
I see. And so has there ever been any evaluation if you could even reinfect? I mean, your body get rid of the virus. So
no, it cannot. I couldn't before I started taking PrEP, and because I take PrEP, I definitely could not.
Okay, but without that medication that you're taking now, could there be a chance that you're really immune now, or would it be like a gamble? No one knows, basically.
I was basically immune, except that I was immune to any virus that uses the CCR5 entryway to get into the cell. But there's also another entryway called CXCR4 or X4 virus, which could, it's very rare, but it could actually use that virus could use that entryway to get into the T cell.
So so there are different mutations of the virus, basically.
Right. Yeah. Evidently, I did actually have X4 virus in me before the treatment, and but my immune system got rid of that, so I don't have that anymore.
Okay. And the cancer is also gone.
Yes.
That's okay. So.
And it's been 10 years since the last stem cell transplant. Stem cell transplant, and they say after 5 years it probably won't return.
Okay. Well, congratulations. So you must be playing the lottery a lot, I guess.
Yeah. I actually bought tickets last night for our lottery. You could actually win $1.4 billion.
Oh, okay. Well, that's Super Bowl.
I mean, right. I doubt it's gonna happen, but.
Well, I mean, you bet the odds a few times already, so who knows?
Right. Sure. Yeah. Right.
Okay. So let's go back maybe a bit in time. So you're originally from the US, and you came to Europe or to Germany in the early 90s?
Yeah, I in 91, and that was because I had taken a break from work for 3 months to I had to do that too, to go on a trip with some friends and travel around Western Europe and Greece, and got back, went back to work, and back to Seattle, and went back to work, and I was working in banks, and I just kind of decided I was bored with banks, and that I wanted to move to Europe, and so I decided to move in. I got back in March of 1990, and and decided to move to Barcelona in 1991. Yeah, and so I did, and so it was like spring of 1991. I moved to Barcelona with a friend, and then I was supposed to meet that friend and some other people in Berlin. And, well, actually, they were going to go earlier, and I was going to catch up with them. And so I went up and stayed where I was supposed to stay in Berlin, and waited for them to call. And this is in the days with no cell phones, so I waited and waited and waited, and luckily I had fun. Otherwise, so yeah. So that was the first. No, actually, the second time I'd been in Berlin, because I had been in Berlin in 1990, and by that time the wall was gone. The first time I was there, the wall was still there, and there was still checkpoints that you had to go through to get into East Berlin, and but 1991 it was completely gone, and it was kind of very exciting time for Berlin. Have you been to Berlin?
I've been to Berlin a few times, yeah, but long ago now. The last time was around 15 years ago, but I've been there a few times.
Okay, cool.
It's a crazy city. It's a crazy city.
Yeah, it is, yeah.
And so back in the 90s, was there like an active gay community?
In Berlin, yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, I hung out with drag queens, and I hung out with a lot of people in East Berlin at first. And so this one apartment, for some reason, the phone company hadn't discovered that they had the phone yet, and so
you were waiting for a call that could not get through.
No, this was like just hanging out with them. Anyway, I decided I could make phone calls to anywhere in the world for free, so I did.
Okay. Yeah. The way around.
And then there was also a telephone booth. You remember what those are?
Yes, I've seen those in my childhood. Yes.
So yeah, there was a telephone booth, and basically you could make calls around the world from that, and yeah, I did that too. Yeah, so that was nice. Yeah. Anyway, I was there for that visit, and then decided to go back to Barcelona, and I had met somebody in Berlin, and I asked him if he wanted to go with me back to Barcelona, and or spend some time with me there, and he said yes. So I took off first, and then he came a couple of days later, and then because we were my bedroom was actually a big closet in this apartment, and it had no windows, that closet, and so we slept out in the living room, and so we slept naked, and the sheets came off, and so in the morning my Syrian roommate came out to make coffee, and saw that we were naked on the floor, and so he later says, you do that again, I'm throwing yourself out the balcony.
Okay.
And I thought, in my head, I didn't say this to him, I thought, okay, you throw myself off the balcony, your stuff's going off the balcony. We were on the fifth floor, so the next night, same thing happens, and that time he says, you do that again, I'm throwing you off the balcony. And so I said to my friend Matthias, I don't think this is safe anymore. And he said, well, you can come back and live with me in Berlin. And so I said yes, and that's what I did.
Okay, then you moved back from Barcelona to Berlin. I understand.
Yeah.
And then you started living there for a while, and you got a job there, I assume.
Yeah, I worked for the British military at first.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, in kitchen, and then I decided to go back to Barcelona,
Mm-hmm.
and so I did, and was there for about a year and a half, and then moved back to Berlin permanently. From October 1993 till I left in December of 2010.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah.
And so then, when did you get diagnosed with HIV?
I'd been tested in Seattle before I left in like 1991 and tested negative.
Mm-hmm.
And then I didn't get tested at all in Spain, in Barcelona, and nor Berlin at first, and then this friend, this former boyfriend, not Matthias, a different one, said, I just tested positive for HIV, and you should probably also get tested.
Okay.
And so I did, and my test came out positive. I was HIV positive.
Okay, so you got infected by him, or is it just one?
Yeah, it was probably I infected him. Yeah,
you infected him.
Yeah, probably.
Okay.
But it didn't matter to either of us. Yeah. And I think I know how I got infected, but yeah, but
Okay, so you know the person who most likely infected you.
Probably, yeah. I don't really think that matters that much because it just happened.
Yeah, at the end of the day, you can change it.
Yeah, everyone. Yeah, you can't change it, and everyone is responsible for themselves.
Okay.
And yeah, I don't like blaming people for things.
Yeah. Okay. So
yeah.
what was it like? I mean, when you first got the diagnosis, back in the days, the medication wasn't at the level that it is today. So what was your first reaction?
Well, kind of the first. Well, I just started university in Berlin, and my reaction was to keep doing what I was doing, and I was also working in a cafe, and I found the whole time I was in Berlin that it was a very open place, and people were very accepting of the way you were, and I didn't really feel stigma at all there from anyone. In fact, I told most of the people with whom I was attending university, and also the people that I worked with, that I was HIV positive. Okay. I mean, I didn't walk around the cafe yelling, "Hey, I'm HIV positive. Here, have a drink." Yeah.
Okay. But for yourself, did you kind of push away the severity of this news, or did you ignore it for a while, or?
Yeah, pretty much. Well, basically, I didn't want to die from it, and it kind of hit me hard when the friend who told me that I should get tested said, you probably only have about 2 more years to live. And
wow. Okay,
I'm like, oh yeah.
So at that point, diagnosis was quite bleak.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I mean, people were dying right and left up to that point.
Okay. So in the beginning of the conversation, you mentioned those ACT drugs. I think you called them.
Yeah, AZT. Yeah.
AZT drugs. So that's a different drug than they're using today, right?
Right. Yeah. Today the treatment is very good. In fact, the treatment is so good that people with HIV can actually live a normal lifespan. Basically, about the same as people without HIV. One reason for that is that a lot of people that don't have HIV don't see their doctors. Particularly men don't like to go to doctors, and and so they don't really treat their health well as well as they should. Most, I'm saying most, not all, but but people who have HIV see their doctors regularly. It used to be, I think it started out that I had to go to the doctor once a month. I don't think it's that way anymore. Now I see a doctor quarterly.
Okay.
So yeah. But I mean, I'm not. That's because in order to stay on Truvada, you have to basically prove that you are still HIV negative.
I see.
And for that reason, they test your blood quarterly.
On a regular basis. Okay. Okay.
Yeah. Yeah.
And so when you got infected, how did your surroundings, your friends, your family, how did they react?
I didn't. My mother was dealing with breast cancer, and I grew up just with my mother. I don't know my father at all, and she was dealing with breast cancer, so I didn't tell her at first.
Okay.
I think it took. I told her after about a year, and when I told her, she cried. And friends dealt with it pretty well. My boyfriend, well, actually, when did I meet him? I didn't meet him until like 2006, and actually had unsafe sex with him. And then I'm like, oh my God, what have I done? And then I told him, I have something to tell you. I'm HIV positive, and he's like, that's okay, I am too. And so, yeah. Okay. Anyway, he's actually probably one of the main reasons why I'm alive. Not only the fact that he basically saved me from being put to from a slow death from morphine. He basically showed me a lot of love.
Yeah.
And came to the hospital every day, and yeah, even after we weren't together anymore.
Okay. And it's great to have someone who's really supportive and is there for you in the darkest of times. Yeah.
Definitely.
So maybe for those who are not too familiar, can you explain the difference between HIV and AIDS? What's the...
Okay. HIV is a virus, which is usually spread through fluids, bodily fluids like blood, semen, even pre-cum. Pre-cum has a very high amount of has much more HIV than semen.
Okay.
Yeah. Through breast milk. But because of something that's come out recently, which is in the United States, it's U equals U. I think in the German-speaking areas of the world, it's N equals N. Undetectable means untransmittable, and it's 100% that as long as the person that is having sex with another person, or say mothers that are breastfeeding their babies, as long as they're undetectable, they cannot transmit it to the babies, which is actually very important for women who are childbearing women. I talked to a woman who has been HIV positive since birth, and she was born with HIV, and she's had 2 or 3 children, and she said, I always thought I couldn't breastfeed, so I didn't. And she said, I would have loved to have been able to. Okay. So yeah.
So it's important to know that they can do it if it's undetectable.
Right. Yeah.
So HIV is the virus that gets transferred, and then AIDS is
AIDS is basically when the person starts to have opportunistic infections, or they have or their CD4 count falls below 300 copies per 300 cells per milliliter of blood.
Okay, so it's a set of symptoms that you have as a
right,
result of HIV.
Yeah, and the opportunistic infections can be pneumonia, toxoplasmosis, which is basically it's an organism that toxo is an organism which is in cats.
I think, cats.
Cat species, and then one thing that you saw a lot of in the days of a lot of people having HIV was Kaposi's
sarcoma, I think.
Sarcoma, yeah. Thank you. Yeah, KS, yeah, and so those are the opportunistic infections that are AIDS, and people really don't talk about AIDS that much anymore. It's more proper to talk about HIV, and so I would say that I'm not cured of HIV. I'm not cured of AIDS. I'm cured of HIV.
I see.
Yeah. So
okay. That's just I think it's important to understand for some people who might not be familiar what that line is. Okay.
Here comes the sunshine and burns away clouds like they never were.